Okay, it is 6:30, so I'll call the meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is it closed, Jessica?
Moving on to roll call, Mayor Kratzky, I am present. Groko, present. Kufal is absent tonight. Padilla,
Present.
Rose,
Present.
and Eager. Here. Do we have any changes or
We have
additions?
one addition
Okay.
to the agenda. This would be under Public Works, 9C II. This is some staff changes at the Aquatic Center. One more hiring and accepting a resignation. Should be on your table.
Okay.
That's the only changes, or the only change.
With that addition, can I get a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Rose and seconded by Eager. Any discussion about the agenda? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say none, or say no. Motion carried. Moving on to comments, updates, and concerns. I don't see any citizens here to speak tonight. Any updates from council members? Jessica and I were talking briefly before the meeting. I think a lot of us are starting to get public feedback about the Tri-Line Police Department concept. And I just want to reiterate to those that are watching, decisions haven't been made. We're still gathering information. And they certainly can reach out if they have questions or concerns. Okay. Any updates from city staff?
No.
Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda. If everyone's had time to look it over, I will take a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved.
We have a
Seconded.
motion from Eager, seconded from Groko. Any questions about the consent agenda? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say no. Motion carried. Don't have any public hearings scheduled for tonight. Under communication requests and petitions, we have the June calendar for the library. Wonder Weaver's Digging to China coming up on the library on June 8th. Story time with Seema's Congo Music at the library on June 17th. Library night with the Islanders at Welsh Field on June 26th. And the Senior Center newsletter. Moving on to department and committee reports and action items, Public Works is the first department on our agenda.
No update on the INI.
Okay. So then moving on to 9C II, we have staff changes at the Aquatic Center.
So we're proposing to hire Emily Leering, and we've received a resignation from Dixie Gaylord, excuse me. Thank you.
Okay, so tonight, from the council, we just need a motion to approve the updated list for the 2026 staff for the Gaylord Area Aquatic Center.
So moved.
We have a motion from Eager. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Rose. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Next, under our department updates, we have Michelle Waltz here from the library to go over the policy handbook. Good evening.
This podium is taller than me. So I am here on behalf of the Gaylord Public Library and the Gaylord Public Library Board. Over the past several months, we have worked to develop and organize library policies that previously were not in place. After speaking with Stacy from TDS, it was recommended that we establish several important policies, especially the 3 core policies required for libraries, which are an internet safety policy, a circulation policy, and a collection development policy, which we have titled collection maintenance. Implementing these policies will provide guidance and consistency for both library staff and myself when situations arise. For example, policies regarding loans, holds, damaged materials, or lost books will help outline how situations should be handled if materials are overdue or not returned within the allotted time frame. In addition, these policies will help guide staff in situations involving behavior within the library. For example, we have included a policy called Patron Code of Conduct. This will establish guidelines to help staff appropriately address situations involving disruptive or unsafe behavior. We understand that every situation and circumstance may be different and require careful thought and judgment. However, having these policies in place will provide clear framework and guidance for staff, the library board, and community. On behalf of myself, the Gaylord Public Library, and the Gaylord Public Library Board, we respectfully ask the City Council to consider approving the proposed library policies. Are there any questions?
I looked it over when our packet came out, and I think it's pretty straightforward and well-written, so. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, so tonight, let me go back to my agenda. We just need a motion to approve the Gaylord Public Library policies effective June 3rd, 2026.
So moved.
We have a motion from Eker. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Groko. Any questions for Michelle or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried.
Perfect,
you.
thank you. Have a good evening.
For all the
Yep, you
hard
too.
work, Michelle.
Yep, I tell you every time I see you, you're doing great. Okay, moving on to the next item, we have under unfinished business, we have ordinance number 384, an ordinance amending the City of Gaylord zoning code. Is this just our second reading?
This is our second reading on this
Yes.
ordinance, and it was just a simple correction.
Sure. So tonight we need a motion to adopt ordinance number 384, an ordinance amending the City of Gaylord zoning code.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion from Padilla. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Rose. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Next, we need a motion to approve the summary of ordinance number 384 and its publication.
So moved.
We have a motion from Padilla,
Second.
seconded by Eker. Any questions about the publication? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say no. Motion carried. Moving onto new business, we have Resolution 2026, resolution authorizing the issuance and awarding the sale of 1.4 General Obligation Capital Improvement Plan Bond Series 2026A, and we have George from Northland Securities here tonight.
Good evening. This podium height's just fine. George Eilertson, Northland Securities. Thank you, Mayor. In your packets, I believe there is a bond sale summary. I'll be referring to that document. And as just a refresher, the bond issue that we're referring to is, the purpose is to finance new public works building as well as improvements to an existing public works building. So I know the city council has been through a process here of Steve and I worked on a capital improvement plan for the city, held a public hearing, and allowed time for public comment. And at a previous city council meeting, you called for a bond sale to take place today. So I'll direct you, council, to page 3. It's Exhibit A bid tabulation, it says at the top. So this morning at 10:30, we took financing bids, and we received bids from 4 different firms, and we award based upon what's called the true interest cost. And so Robert W. Baird, which is a investment bank out of Milwaukee, was the low bidder. They bid with a true interest cost of 3.81%. Just as a note, council, that's, we're very pleased with that financing bid. It's a little bit lower than what we had been running internal numbers at, so it's a nice bid. And then we certainly received 3 other bids from other banks And it's, as you'll note, it's a national audience on who bids on even City of Gaylord bonds. So the low bidder from Milwaukee, second place bid was from Dallas, Texas, third from Bloomington, Minnesota, and the fourth from Illinois. So, but nonetheless, the 3.81% is the true interest cost. And what we did is structured the financing with a 15-year term, level debt service, and a call date of February 1 of 2034. So that's a little bit shorter than halfway through the financing term. And once you reach that call date, if market conditions are favorable, you could potentially refinance the bonds or prepay principal once you reach that date. As part of the bond sale process, I worked with your administrator on the assignment of the city's bond rating. The city had previously been rated A+ with Standard & Poor's, and Steve did a really nice job preparing for the rating call and providing background information on, information, for example, provided to the city council on, throughout the year. And so that, some of the highlights from that bond rating are, they noted the city's stable financial performance and above average management. They noted that management includes quarterly budget and investment updates for the council and completes annually a 5-year, or updates rather, a 5-year financial forecast and a capital improvement plan. So those are certainly highlights in the rating report. Some of the things, of course, they also note some challenges for the city. One that Steve and I certainly don't agree with is you've got a very strong major employer in town, but they're in the ag sector. And so the bond rating agencies view the ag economy as volatile. And so that's one that, if anything, Steve, before he retires someday, I think it would be just to change that word, volatile, because you've got a major employer that's very strong, growing, and it's doing really well for your community. But, and certainly they talk about the city has strong reserves, as well as, certainly debt that is a little bit above average. So those are the good with the bad, or the challenges, if you will, for the city. But at the end of the day, what they did is affirmed the city's A+ bond rating, which is a good rating for the city of Gaylord, and certainly helped the city as you came to market today. So, council, that's the highlight. Again, 15-year financing term, 3.81%. Closing date is June 30th, so that's the date that the funds will arrive. I will make one note, council, that when we came to the bond market, and it may say this on the resolution, the preliminary resolution was sized at $1,410,000, and the resolution that you'll be considering approval of is $70,000 less than that, at $1,340,000. And that's a function of what's called bond premium. It's a way that investment banks bid on bonds in the current market. And so you get your funds, you still end up with the same $1,410,000 at the end. It just comes from two different pots of money. One is the bond proceeds, and the other is what's called reoffering premium. And that's, reoffering premium, simply put, is an amount of money that investors pay to earn at a higher rate of return. So it works out as a push for the city, where you have a little bit higher interest rate, but now you're borrowing less money. And I can certainly address any questions, Mayor, you or the council may have.
Doesn't look like we have any right now.
So then is that 10 years, in 2034, that's when we're, if interest rates come down, you said, that'd be our ability to renegotiate that or refinance, basically?
That is correct. Good question. So once you reach that call date in 8 years, you've paid off 38% of the principal on those bonds. So there'll still be $830,000 of principal remaining. And as part of what we do at Northland is monitor the markets and monitor existing debt of a client, just to make sure if the call date, that date that we're referring to, is approaching, we just make sure we're letting cities know if there is that opportunity to refinance.
Under state law, there is a minimum savings that you're required to experience in order to refinance. So that would be something that Northland would calculate for us at that time. And just for your information, I quickly looked at the amortization schedule for this and what it would mean as far as the property tax levy for next year. And we're basically looking at about a 5.5% increase with this project, starting next year.
Does that include if the water pays?
Taking that into consideration, yes.
Actually, Mayor, just to follow up on Steve's point, in the bond schedule, one of the pages that we prepared was a schedule that tells you how do you pay for this? You know, here's the debt, how do you pay for it, what do your revenues need to be? And so we factor in transfers from the water, sewer, and storm funds to help reduce the levy, to help pay for this going forward.
And we have, I'm sure you know, we have other projects that we've structured that way, that we bonded, that the utilities have to also contribute to help pay off whatever the obligations are on an annual basis.
Okay, does anyone else have questions for George or Steve?
So the resolution that's on your table is the updated one based on the sale today. So that's what we're looking at approving.
One more question. So we approve the sale now, let's say, you know, whatever project comes in cheaper than for some reason, basically is that where that money's left over that can get put back into paying those off, or what happens then?
What happens is, you know, whatever's balance is remaining, we will transfer that into the debt service fund that will be established for this bond issue. And that'll basically help out pay off the bonds in the future then.
Or be used for a similar project, basically?
Sometimes you can do that, like utilities, like say you had a sewer project, you would have to use the proceeds for the same type of purpose.
Any other questions? Tonight, we need a motion to approve Resolution 2026-14, resolution authorizing the issuance and awarding the sale of $1,410,000 GO Capital Improvement Plan Bond Series 2026A and levying a tax for the payment thereof.
Mayor, can I make one slight correction? It would
Sure.
be that dollar amount,
Yep.
$1,340,000.
Okay. With that change. 1
But
million.
everything else was perfect.
1,340,000.
Need a motion?
Yes.
So move.
We have a motion from Rose,
Second.
seconded by Eker. Any further questions or discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Dawn, there was a sheet there for your signature for
Yes.
George. If you could sign that and I'll sign it, then he can take that with him right away.
Is it,
It's just a 2-pager.
oh,
Maybe not.
It wasn't part of the resolution. It was just-
oh, you know what? I did,
You already
let me
know.
just double check. I thought maybe we signed something last month. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, next item under new business is 11B, the Workforce Housing Development Program Grant.
So this is in reference to our development agreement that we have with Alex Duvall. You'll recall Alex was in here, I think, more than once as far as presenting his proposed project. As you know, we got the the Workforce Housing Development Program grant in an amount of $1 million with a 2-to-1 matching requirement. We were awarded that back in April of 2024, and there is a deadline for utilizing the grant proceeds of January 1, 2028. Our current development agreement with Alex states that he is supposed to commence construction, or was supposed to have commenced construction by June 1st. He did not. As you recall, the council has actually extended that timeframe by a year. Last summer, you did that, and upon his request. And basically, at this point, he has submitted a letter to the city asking that you would hold off in any further, or any discussions with any other new developer, and that he'd be able to attend our July council meeting and go over his proposed financing of the project. That has been his challenge, is that he has not been able to put his financing package together to do the project. Even with the $1.5 million that basically is coming from the grant and then locally here, he is not able to fill that gap, and that's been his challenge all along here. I think at this point I'll just stop, and I'm going to turn it over to Mark, and he's going to talk about the development agreement and some of the language referring to a default in the agreement.
Thank you, Steve. So in August of 2025, the city executed or approved this development agreement with Mr. Duval's, one of his subsidiaries. And under section 1.2C, it spells out kind of a timeline for when things have to happen in the project. And the first deadline, so to speak, is starting construction. And that deadline was June 1st, 2026. So what was that, Monday of this week? Something like that. So he needed to have started construction. So very low threshold. Clearly he has not started construction yet. So under the terms of the contract, he's considered to be in default. And, excuse me, there's a process under the development agreement for how we unwind the agreement, if that's the direction council wants to go tonight. And it starts with providing notice to the developer that he's in default of the contract by virtue of him not starting construction by June 1st. And contract says that he needs 30 days to be able to remedy that. So if he can get his financing in order and can break ground within 30 days, then he's gotten this back on the rails, if that's where this goes. That it's not an especially long period of time. And if that 30 days comes and goes from the date of the notice letter, then we have the grounds to terminate the contract within 10 days. So what, I guess one of the options for council to consider tonight, I guess behind door number one, we have, we could talk about some of the more moving parts in his letter, but extending this contract with Mr. Duval and giving him more timeline. I guess that's option number one. Option number two would be to provide him with a notice of default and start the process for canceling and rescinding the agreement, which would put us sometime in July when this would be formally terminated.
Has he not received any letters yet?
Excuse me?
Have we not sent out a letter yet?
No.
I mean, he knows this expires on the 1st, right?
Correct. I wanted to bring it to you first to discuss.
But I mean,
All we have so far is this letter from him dated May 15th.
so does that start that notice period then already? Or is that not able to happen until after the 1st?
No, the default has to happen, so that happened on June 2nd when first. Well, when that came and went, then he's in default. And so now we have grounds to move forward. And so we have to start that process. There's a lot of different ways you can be in default of a contract like this. Some of them really significant like this, some of them less so, stuff that can be fixed. And so it's not always the case that you're gonna send a notice of default and try and, rescind an agreement every single time there's a default. But if we want to go that path, it's on the city to basically initiate that with the notice of default.
So tonight it's your choice. That's why we're talking about this. You can either choose to extend it, bring him in on July 15th meeting and listen to what he has to say and consider extending that deadline, or you could follow what Mark's laying out here as far as the default stuff. I'll mention this because he mentioned it in his May 15th letter, as far as the city of Grand Marais. They were awarded a similar grant that we received. He was looking at doing exactly the same project there. I did reach out to them earlier this week just to verify what he was saying here, and apparently they have elected to separate their agreement with him or working relationship effective later part of last week. And so I think they had similar concerns that we did, that it's been going on for a while and we really haven't been seeing anything productive happening.
So I have an opinion, but I'll let you guys, I mean, if you guys have anything first.
I just think it seems like we always get caught in this. It's like, let's give them some more, let's give them some more. And then in the end, it still doesn't work out, and then we're stuck and kind of trying to catch up. So in my opinion is that we would just terminate it and let someone else who maybe has some financing together, or give somebody else a chance at that opportunity. That's my opinion on it.
I agree with Lynn. Well said.
What's your idea?
Pretty much in line with that. I mean, going back 3 years ago, I mean, I brought this up, that was, I don't think the right thing for the city to do 3 years ago already, and now here we are. And ultimately, the way I look at it, I mean, we're at a point where now these two other developers were looking to build something in town, but now know about this grant, and now we're on hold. So if anything, receiving this grant has actually negatively impacted the city in getting housing, which is what we want, right? So, I mean, kind of going in line with what you guys said, I think we just open it up to whoever wants to put a proposal in, whether it's Alex wants to put his proposal in, or, you know, these other two developers put in a proposal for, I don't know, August, and then we'll look over them, and then we'll decide what to go forward with. So basically terminate our agreement with Alex, but then accept proposals from whoever wants to give us a proposal and make a decision. And kind of come up with, you know, what's, you know, a way to grade them. You know, what do you have your financing lined up? Well, perfect. You move up on our order. Or how's your project going to benefit the city? You know, if these guys already are looking at projects without doing a grant, maybe they say, hey, you know, I'm going to do my original project and take this one on. Okay, you know, that puts you higher. So that's what I think we should do. Move on and then open it up to anybody who wants to put in a proposal, and then we can decide who to go forward with. Because I'm going to guess we're going to get at least 2 proposals here. And I mean, I don't know if Mitch Dietz or I don't know, Bauer or anybody else around town would be interested, but I think that way it's fair for whatever developer wants to come into it to give their proposal to us. Because it's our grant money that we received as a city.
I guess my feeling too is that we would look at something different. At this point in time, he has not submitted anything that would guarantee his financing is going to come into play or get in place where he needs to be. And our biggest concern here, I think, is the risk of losing this $1 million grant. Granted, I've talked to the state representative, and they do entertain extensions for these grant programs, but you have to show some pretty legitimate proof that the project's going to get completed. And at this point in time, if we were to apply for an extension, we would not receive that extension. So, you know, we're at risk right now, and we don't have a lot of time, year and a half, and we're out of time, and then it's over. It's gone, and we won't get it back. These kind of dollar amounts don't come around very often, especially to small communities.
At this point too, I mean, unless somebody really has their stuff together and has money sitting in the bank ready to go, the odds of this breaking ground this year are not good. I mean, you could maybe get your footings in and try that, you know, work into winter, but we're already up against the wall to use this money up. You know, if we push this any longer with Alex, what happens next year? He doesn't have it done. And then what do you do? Then we don't have a proposal till August, and then somehow you're trying to convince a bank to get that financing process and do the appraisal. I mean, that takes, 1 to 2 months, and then closing and everything else. So it's, like I said, Alex has had an extension already. And especially you have Grand Marais, I guess I don't know if it's public, but possibly moving on, and that project hasn't started either, so I don't see hope you know, there's another town that's suffering the same problem.
So at this point, if we were to give him notice, that would take us, 30 days, that would take us into July. And then we have a final notice, or could you explain that?
Then we have to give them a final termination within 10 days of the notice period expiring. So essentially, that's the process. 30 days after we give them the initial notice, and then within 10 days of that period expiring, then giving him the formal termination.
And should we wait to seek out other proposals till after that process is done? Or is that something we can do at the same time? Or what's cleaner, I guess?
It's probably cleaner to wait until the development agreement, because it's still a binding contract at that point. But as a matter of practicality, like, we can start getting the process started of requesting, essentially an RFP for the property, so that we're ready with that when and if the contract is terminated.
If this is the direction you choose to go, with all that said, he's requesting to come to the July meeting. Do you even want him to come in?
I wouldn't think he needs to be here unless he's planning on breaking ground.
Bring a shovel with them.
Right.
We'll get a response from him within
Yeah.
30 days, so I don't think there's,
We'll have a meeting between now and then, too.
right.
I think we should start the process.
I mean, putting it on the July agenda because of our timing in July is just gonna delay everything further. Like, I agree, we need to move on this so we do not lose this money.
I guess what I was thinking is that I would agree that you move ahead with the notice, start that whole process. But would you also want to give him the opportunity to come in or not come in? I'm just asking, that's my question.
I think we should move forward with the default, but then, like I said, if we're gonna solicit RFPs, he's welcome to put a proposal in then, and then we can grade them against any other proposal we get. So, I mean, if he wants to keep working on it, just like everybody else, he's more than welcome to, but I don't think we should let him be the only guy that's allowed to work on this longer.
Yeah, he's had a lot of time already. We just need to move.
So I think the question still is, do we need him at the July meeting then or not?
If he wants to,
I
but
think
I
it just
don't.
depends too on like his response. Like, he has 30 days to respond. I mean, it's hard to say what's his response gonna be.
I think unless his response is that he suddenly has financing, it's not gonna change our opinions.
Yeah, I mean, we have, like I said, one more council meeting between now and then. If we send this notice out and he comes back with something worthwhile, we can invite him, put him on the agenda for
Sure.
July then.
Sure.
And I don't know, maybe as part of that notice, just let him know that if he, we'll consider putting him on the agenda. What is it, June 17th? Consider on June 17th, putting him in July's agenda.
Okay, depending on, again, how he responds.
Sure.
Need a motion?
I think, Mark, we probably should have a motion here.
Motion to move forward with a notice of default.
I'll make a motion to move forward with a notice of default. Anything more specific than that?
Of the contract for development.
Of the contract for development with Alex Duvall.
We have a motion by Rose. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Groko. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried.
One question just for, and so then once that's done, then we can lead to like that second part, inviting RFPs in, once this,
Yeah.
so we'll just kind of leave that off the discussion till whenever that process is done.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of obvious where this is going, so we can start putting that together, but we wouldn't want to put it out for an RFP until it's formally terminated.
So in the meantime, Steve, if we could just get, I guess, general information together on that, so that way, if we're gonna solicit people, we just have a packet or something of all the information? I mean, is that way everybody kind of knows what goes into this?
So that's where we're heading here, basically a request for proposals. You're opening it up to anybody that might have an interest in it.
I don't think it's too often that the city of Gaylord has all the playing cards and that, you know, we can invite people to come to us for it, rather than us trying to beg other people. So,
Yeah, I can start working on putting something together for that.
I'd appreciate it, thank you.
Do we have anything else that we need to talk about before we move to our closed meeting? Okay, if not, we will recess the regular meeting. We're having a closed meeting pursuant to Minnesota statute 13D.05 subdivision 3C3, paragraph 3, regarding properties located at 203rd Street Southeast and parcel number 32.0817.081 on Shoreview Lane East. Do we need a motion, or is it a,
You need a motion.
yeah, so we need a motion to.
So moved.
We have a motion from Eker. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Padilla. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Okay, the regular meeting will be recessed.